Picking the winner of the Masters, I might not be the right man to ask. I've only backed one down the years, and that was Charles Schwartzel. It's the only winner of the Masters I've had. But I think you need to look at strokes gained approach. That's one big stat to look at whenever you're analysing Augusta and the field when it comes around. And you need to look at golfers mainly in the top 30 or 40 in the world. There's not many surprises at Augusta, and there's not many youngsters that make the frame either. You're looking at the more experienced types. You know, in the last few years, obviously we've seen Woods, Garcia, Danny Willett. You know, they've all had plenty of experience before winning their Masters. So I think it's maybe avoid those who don't have too much experience on the course, and obviously previous form at Augusta as well is always a big pointer. Anybody with a top 10 or even a major top 10, sometimes you even look towards a win earlier on in the season. Anybody who's got a win on the board, it's always a huge positive heading towards Georgia. It's a tricky PGA Championship this year. We've got a new venue at Harding Park in San Francisco. We don't have an awful lot to go on. It held the 2005 Amex WGC, which Tiger Woods won. He beat John Daly in a playoff. That's obviously two massive hitters. But the leaderboard that time was littered with great iron players like Monty, Stenson, David Toms, even Stephen Ames. These guys were guys really renowned for their tee to green game and hitting plenty of greens. So I think that's going to be important this year. Just not to stray too much off the tee. It's one of those classical American golf courses that will test you big time if you stray off the tee and go into the rough. So it's going to be those special players with, you know, good stats approaching the green and greens in regulation. I think that's the area you need to look at. Well, we're back at Winged Foot this year. It's the first time it's held a major since 2006. And plenty will remember for Monty in the middle of the fairway on the 72nd of the major, finally in his grasp. He was going to win one, absolutely threw it away, duffed his approach shot, made a mess of getting up and down as well. So he should have won that. Then Mickelson stepped up in the 72nd with a one-shot lead, and he doubled it as well. It eventually went to Jeff Ogilvy. But it was a fascinating lead. One of those who really challenging off the tee, challenging around the greens. An old-style US Open course that we were used to when we were growing up. Things have changed with venues recently, but it's going to be a cracking venue. It's designed by Tillinghast, and that's one angle that I would look towards. Other courses that he has designed, especially major championship courses like Baltusrol and Bethpage Plaque, where we played the PGA last year. Just looking to guys who played well on those tough, long designs, maybe the key to finding a winner there this year. I'm thinking first time major, or the guys who haven't won a major yet. Obviously they're the guys that are winning plenty of major championships, so I'm looking to Sander Schauffele. Whether we'll get a value price or a big enough price about him when the time comes around is another question, but guys like him and Bryson DeChambeau, those two guys would contend one or two of the majors this year, and probably are amongst the most likely guys to get off the mark who haven't won a major yet. Well, an Open Championship, a lot depends on the weather and the draw. You can get unlucky or you can get lucky, and a lot of the results depend upon that. Nevertheless, you do look to link specialists, guys who usually play well in the wind. You'd be awful fortunate for 4 days on an Open Championship not to get some bad weather at some point or other. So that's the one that plays a huge part. If it's great weather, then you can often find firm golf courses and firm greens, and that provides a totally different challenge. So links, it's the purest form of golf, and it's my favourite form of golf. I think it's the best. It's the pick of the major championships for me. Well, it's held two recent Open Championships. I think it was back in the early 2000s. Provided one of the biggest shocks in Open Championship history with Ben Curtis winning. And then 8 or 9 years later, Darren Clarke, that was another surprise. To be fair, everybody knows, you know, his history with links golf, and maybe if he was going to win a major, that would be the one he was going to win, but it was still nevertheless a big surprise at the time. I think it all depends on the weather. I think if it's a sunny Open Championship with good weather, you're going to look to the best players in the game, the likes of McIlroy, and especially John Rahm, who's a couple of wins on links courses now. But there's always a degree of strategy needed in an Open Championship as well, avoiding the deep bunkers that, you know, they almost cost a shot every single time you go in one. You know, you look back at Spieth, when he won at Birkdale, he often headed into the rough. He had strategies, you know, just to miss fairways in order to have the right angles in the green. So it takes a strong strategy to win an Open Championship, and there can be surprises, as we've seen. But St George's also has, you know, a good list of famous top golfers as well. So who knows? It could be another surprise though. Well, I've mentioned him before, but I quite like Xander Schauffele. Obviously, he finished second at Carnoustie a couple of years ago. I think he really does have the game for an Open Championship. You know, for one that hasn't won one, maybe Tommy Fleetwood, maybe one could get off the mark. It's not going to be easy, but he's shown links form before, and he's a very consistent performer. So you would expect him to contend a few majors in the next couple of years, and St George's might just be the one set up for him.